All right, Shalom. I want to start by saying, Kahal, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, KAKADASH. Do my honors to the apostles of Israel, aka the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Well, it's a lot of things going on, a lot of trendy things going on, a lot of trending topics, but the main thing that's been, taking control over the news and whatnot, world, geopolitical, so on and so forth, is this whole thing going on with Iran. The whole thing going on with Iran and the whole thing going on with these tariffs. That's the major thing that's been, controlling, the minds, and not controlling the minds, but it's been the most publicized thing. That's been the most impactful publicized thing. These tariffs and this whole thing with Iran. Now, if you know anything about what's going on with Iran scripturally, this means a lot. This means so much. You know what I'm saying? This is first and foremost, Ezekiel 38th chapter. You know what I'm saying? Because you just had, you for a while now, for like and then for a couple weeks now at least, you've had Donald Trump saying that if Iran and them, if they don't come to a thing to where an agreement with their nuclear program with Washington, that he says he's going to bomb them to almighty hell, basically. Iran said that they're not down to do direct talks with America. Washington would not. And you have Russia. They said that because they talk about bombing Iran's nuclear facilities, and Russia said that if they do that, it's going to be a catastrophic effect. It's going to be a catastrophic response. Now, they didn't go into detail exactly what it is, but being that Iran and Russia have business with each other, it's not gonna be a. It's like when that happened, that's not gonna be good, and then what comes after that's not gonna be good. But it's gonna be good for the prophets, because why? These are the things we've been expecting. You have men that have been on the earth right now that have been preaching about these things taking place way before it started getting all hectic like this, man. We talk about 10 plus years, 20 plus years, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Because shit, the apostles on YouTube since got on there since what, 2007? And I can remember them talking about Iran. I can remember them talking about Ezekiel 38th chapter and all these things taking place. And Joel the 3rd chapter, like, this is all things that's been prophesied. Remember, this is already written from jump. And now you have at the time to where the Lord put the understanding of the prophecies in the scriptures to be prophesied and then spoken and proclaimed. And now the Lord is what? Now it's action time. Now the Lord is doing work. Now the Lord is rising up to the prey. But so I'm gonna get to this article. I think I'm gonna try to get another article too. So this is from the Times of Israel, TOI, and it says U.S. said, U.S. said to transfer second Thahad missile battery to Israel as Iran nuclear tensions rise. And it's only going to keep rising and rising until the motherfucking nukes is shot. This ain't gonna simmer down. It might be to where like, remember the Lord said there should be wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet. So you're gonna have this happening for a little while. And when I say a little while, it's gonna be a short time, but it's not. When a big show happens, remember they still gotta bring out the sea hip. So we really gotta watch out for that. So until that happens, until this beast brings out the new system, this war shit, these wars and rumors of wars, this gonna be every day. So it says a deployment of defense system comes as PM set to meet Trump in D.C. Iran says direct talks with U.S. will be meaningless if Washington continues threatening to attack. Because right now you have Washington, Trump, whatever, they're threatening to attack Iran. And it's been word given out there. They said that if shit don't get to where they're liking, that this year is going to be an attack on Iran from the U.S. And you got to remember, the small hats, they attacked Iran already. I want to say maybe twice. They maybe once or twice, right? Whatever they're at. But once America gets involved with Iran and the small hats, the war is going to take it's going to get into high gear, man. It's not going to be like when Israel did it before. It's going to be, remember, the America, this article is about America sending a missile over there. And remember, they already sent them B-2 bombers over there. They said within striking range of Yemen and Iran. Remember, now America's more involved. Since I've been in the troop, America hasn't been too keen on just like preparing for war with Iran. But now we're in a different time. The Lord said the day is nigh. It's approached, the third woe coming quickly. So that's why they're getting all these things in place. It says the U.S. transferred a second Tahad anti-missile defense battery to Israel, according to a report published Sunday amid rising tensions between Washington and Tehran. The Saudi Al-Hadath channel reported that the battery arrived in Israel on Saturday, which was yesterday, and it says, as Iran and the U.S. have traded threats in recent days surrounding talks over the Iranian nuclear program. Now, the whole thing with the Iranian nuclear program is Iran is the only country without a quote-unquote official nuclear program, I believe, and is said to have basically capable of having a nuclear weapon soon, if they don't have it already. It says, excuse me, it says flight tracking websites show that an American C-5M Super Galaxy, the U.S. Air Force's largest transport plane, landed at the Nevatim Air Base in southern Israel on Saturday and remained there for around 8 hours before taking off again. It said the Tahad, or Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, is an advanced anti-missile system. The first Tahad, I guess that's how you pronounce it, it's an acronym. It says battery was rushed to Israel last year. It said was rushed to Israel last year, and around 100 U.S. troops are thought to be deployed to operate the system, which is considered a complementary system to the Patriot system, but can defend a wider area, capable of hitting targets at ranges of 100 to 200 kilometers, which is 93 to 124 miles. It also integrates with Israel's existing multi-tier missile defense systems. The system has been used to intercept several missiles fired at Israel by the Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen, including in recent weeks. It says PM to meet Trump will discuss Iranian threat. The PM, that's Bibi Netanyahu. It says the reported transfer of the Tahad system to Israel came a day before Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu was set to arrive in Washington for a visit with U.S. President Donald Trump, where the two leaders plan to discuss efforts to reach a hostage deal, Israel-Turkey relations, because you know this whole big thing with Israel and Turkey. It says the Iranian threat, and confronted the International Criminal Court, according to the Prime Minister's office. Because you know the whole thing with the International Court, they saying that they ain't the real chosen people in that land, I believe. And I believe that's the same people that want to arrest Bibi. It says it will be Bibi's fourth trip to Washington since the war in Gaza began, and his second since Trump took office in January. So this is his second trip to the U.S. since Trump been in office. And Trump's only been in office in January. If I read that right, it says it will be Bibi's fourth trip to Washington since the war in Gaza began, which was in 2023. So he's been here total 4 times since 2023. And it says in his second since Trump took office in January. So yeah, he's visited America for the second time already, and Trump's only been in office for a few months. It said this visit will also make Bibi the first foreign leader to negotiate in person with Trump over the U.S. president's sweeping new tariff policy, which includes a 17% tariff on Amalek goods. It says, in regards, Iran, report on Channel 12 on Saturday said that Israel is anxious to ensure that with Trump declaring a readiness to negotiate a new deal designed to prevent Iran from attaining nuclear weapons, Israel's essential interest will be taken into account if there are no new negotiations. And with the U.S. sending forces to the region, then Israel needs to coordinate with the U.S. on a potential attack, the report said. So what? This is wars and rumors of wars. And if you go, this is Matthew 24:6. And we go to NLT, it says wars and threats of wars. So that right now you have continual wars going on already because Israel's already at war. America's already at war. And now more threats of war. What? Wars with other people, other countries. Right now, they're not even fighting. Right now, they're not even fighting countries. They're fighting militia groups backed by Iran. They're not even fighting the actual country of Iran yet. That's why they getting ready. They're putting things here. They put things in place. Let me. It says last week, Trump threatened Iran with bombing and secondary tariffs if Tehran did not come to an agreement with Washington over its nuclear program. Iran has responded by saying it prefers talks, but is prepared for conflict if the U.S. chooses that route. Hold up, it says Iran has responded by saying it prefers talks, but is prepared for conflict if the U.S. chooses that route. So if you go along with these threats you keep threatening them with, they saying that they're prepared for conflict if the U.S. chooses that route. Which means that in hindsight, they're already prepared for an attack already. It says, however, on Sunday, Iran said talks will be meaningless if the U.S. keeps threatening an attack. So Trump hasn't taken about the threat. The threat is still out there. And they're saying that the talks will be meaningless if they keep threatening them. It says Foreign Minister Abbas Haragachi says Sunday in a statement that direct negotiation would be meaningless with a party that constantly threatens to resort to force in violation of the UN Charter and that expressed contradictory positions from its various officials. Because remember, they said this guy I was watching, I forget the dude's name, one of those people like redacted and one of them type niggas. They were saying basically like Trump's plan really is a max pressure, but max pressure to where they thinking that Iran will fold, but Iran is not folding. So now you already put the threat out there. You put max pressure, but like he basically said that America doesn't want to go to war with Iran, but they have to put the max pressure on them. But now putting the max pressure, Iran is still just getting their shit together. They still getting nuclear ready. They still doing all the things that they don't want. They still doing all the things that America don't want them to do, and the fucking small hats don't want them to do, which is continue enriching their nuclear program. It says we remain committed to diplomacy and are ready to try the path of indirect negotiations, Aragachi added. It says Iran keeps itself prepared for all possible or probable events, and just as it is serious in diplomacy and negotiations, it will also be decisive. It will also be decisive and serious in defending its national interests and sovereignty. So it said, yeah, we're down to talk, but we're also down to squabble too. It said the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, General Hassan Salami, also responded to Trump's threats on Saturday, saying that Iran is ready for both psychological warfare and military action by the enemies. So they said, Iran said, we ready. So if you keep threatening us, yeah, we down to talk, but if you keep threatening us, negotiations and talks will be meaningless. So if they're saying that psychologically they're ready for both psychological warfare and military action by the enemies, Trump just keep threatening Iran. Right now, the threats are out. They just keep threatening them and threatening them and threatening them. And this is a hybrid drug because now this is Trump's first few months in office. I guess this guy Salami, yeah, it says we are not worried at all. Salami said, we will not start a war, but we are ready for it. Israel jets targeted Iranian air defenses as well as its ballistic missile program, striking factories, storage sites, launchers, and research facilities, and targeting one facility believed to be used for the regime's pursuit of a nuclear weapon. Iran's nuclear sites are also widely seen as more vulnerable, with many of Tehran's proxies weakened. Iran, which has sworn to Israel's destruction, denies seeking a nuclear weapon, but it has ramped up its enrichment of uranium up to 60% purity, the only country in the world without a nuclear weapons program to do so, and has obstructed international inspectors from checking its nuclear facilities. So that means they in free fall. They said, yo, they ain't nobody checking this shit. So who knows what really they've been doing for all this time? And remember the whole deal, the nuclear treaty with Obama, that expired. Trump ended that in 2018. So what the deal was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the deal was Iran and the deal that Obama made, the deal was they would show them what they're doing and in return for ease on sanctions. But Trump, when that expired, he didn't renew it. So they continued, but there were no sanctions. And that's why they're trying to say this negotiation shit. They're trying to have a negotiation to where like they can't attain a nuclear weapon. But remember, this is the will of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. They will get a nuclear weapon. They probably already have a nuclear weapon. Who knows? I'm not saying that for sure, but I'm just saying, who knows? They could probably already have it. Remember, if they haven't been sanctioned and nobody been checking, they could be way far advanced than what America or Israel really knows. That's why they want to keep. That's why they keep threatening to attack them. That's why they want the negotiations. But at the end of the day, this, like I said, this is the will of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Hold on, that's the end of that article. Hold up. Okay, so real quick, Iran. Indian. Where it comes. Because there's something that also that Iran said that if anything comes in their airspace, and they don't have to wait for permission to shoot it down. Oh, you motherfuckers. Hold up. Hold on, bear with. Haywire. Ah. Now now they don't have too much on here, but they were saying that some U.S. jets went haywire that went to the Iranian closer or into Iranian airspace. Now they were saying that Iran had deployed. Hold up. Iran deploys electrical. Okay, here we go. Got something. Because there was an event to where some U.S. aircraft went haywire that was into Iranian airspace. So this is from what's the name of this source? Was it Defense Army News? What's this? Global Defense News, Army Recognition Group. And they do obviously military news. So this article reads, it says, breaking news. Iran deploys electronic warfare systems in Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz to disrupt U.S. stealth aircraft. U.S. stealth aircraft, which means, well, yo, this is, man, it's right there. It's literally right there. They're already it's like they right there, right? So it says tensions in the Middle East are intensifying as Iran has launched a concerted electronic warfare campaign across the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz targeting U.S. military aircraft and maritime operations with aggressive GPS and communication jamming. The move signals a growing willingness by Tehran to confront American forces not only through proxy engagements, but also via direct technological confrontation in one of the most strategically vital regions of the world. You got a picture right here. There we go. So it says Iran deploys military electronic warfare vehicle in the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz, part of a broader effort by Tehran to jam GPS communication signals across the region, challenging U.S. surveillance aircraft and disrupting regional navigation systems. It says, according to U.S. defense and intelligence officials, Iran has activated ground-based jamming systems capable of interfering with satellite navigation and disrupting communication links between airborne platforms and command centers. This activity is already impacting U.S. Air Force surveillance aircraft, including RC-135 Rivet Joint Signals Intelligence Plans, E-8C Joint Stars ground surveillance platforms, and MQ-9 Reaper drones, all of which rely heavily on uninterrupted GPS signals and secure data links to operate effectively in contested airspace. Which the Iranian airspace is that contested airspace. It says sources familiar with regional military operations confirmed that several U.S. aircraft have recently reported degraded GPS functionality while conducting reconnaissance missions over the Gulf. In some cases, these disruptions have forced aircraft to switch to backup navigation modes or alter flight patterns to avoid compromised airspace. The jamming is also affecting aircraft deployed to monitor Iranian military movements, including tracking potential ballistic missile launches or the positioning of naval assets with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC Navy. Now get a load of that. Hold up. Now, got to get the scripture now. Hold up. I'm already in Matthew 24. Hold up. Read this real quick. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, I'm going to start at verse 6. You know what? I'm going to start the third verse and jump down. And it says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And YAHAWASHI answered and said, said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And we go into the NLT, it says, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. So these things must take place. So Trump got to continue to threaten Iran. Iran has to continue to get digital electronic warfare. All the stuff has to continue. You have to continue. Contested airspace. You over here. You monitoring here. You doing this. You doing that. This has to continue. These are wars and threats of war. This is a prophecy that's already taken place that YAHAWASHI spoke on. But I'm gonna get out of the book of Joel, because now you have Iran. At one point in time, Iran wasn't like this. They were in the talks of world world powers and being a threat to a superpower like America. Never. That's why the scriptures are so beautiful. Hold on, let me get it. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9, and it reads, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. And that's what's happening right now. Verse 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. Now, didn't Iran just say they have they're preparing some missiles to be launched for launch readiness? And that's who was that to fight against? America being one, the small hats. Let the weak say I'm strong. Now, Iran is one of those weaklings that say, now we're strong now. You can't just come over here and do what you want. You can't make us come to an agreement just because solely on what you want from us. So they're going to continue to enrich uranium. They're going to continue to enrich their nuclear program. And like I said, they might already have nuclear weapons already. I mean, this is scriptural. Verse 11, it says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen. All ye heathen. It says all ye heathen. So all these heathen are getting ready for war. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. And that's what's happening right now. And look what region they're going over to. The Middle East. You even had America. They took some things they took whatever they had in South America, and they said for temporary deployment to the Middle East. Because that area of the world, that's where a major prophecy is going to take place regarding this third woe. Regarding the return of YAHAWASHI. See, these other nations, these other religions, these other doctrines, they don't speak on the return of their God. See, our God is talking about these other nations in his doctrine. These other gods, these other nations, they don't talk about Allah saying that, then Muhammad or such and such is going to come back and then make war with the nations. The Lord said he's gathered the nations for this war. The fire is indignation. What is it? What is in those nuclear missiles? Fire. What is that going to bring to America? Fire. What is it going to bring to all the parts of the world where they hit? Fire. That's prophecy. The Lord said this is real from the beginning. The Lord said, I declared the end from the beginning. And the Lord said what? YAHAWASHI said it is his determination to gather the nations. So what's happening right now? This is the Lord's determination. Trump can't stop it. Nothing, the BB can't stop it. You ain't gonna stop Iran from making nuclear weapons. And you know what? The thing about it, hold up. It says, verse 12, it says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Yahweh judgment, Yahweh Shabbat, Yahweh judgment. This is Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHWASHI's plan. Hold up. Oops. Fuck. We're going to the word Jehoshaphat. It says symbolical name of a valley near Jerusalem. Who is Iran? Who's Iran at odds with right now? Who is America assisting right now and on the behalf of the small hats? Who is America talking about threatening? Where is that area at? Who is that in line up to protect? Protect who? Them small hats over there that's in Jerusalem. So it says, symbolical name of valley near Jerusalem, which is the place of ultimate judgment. Maybe the deep ravine which separates Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives through which the Kidron flowed. But yeah, that's the key point right there. It says symbolical name of valley near Jerusalem, which is the place of ultimate judgment. And what is the Lord's ultimate judgment? To bring fire on the earth. Matter of fact, hold on, let me go back to the article. I'm gonna keep that there. Ooh, well. In the article, going back to Iran had the electrical warfare, it says, over the past 2 decades, which is 20 years, Iran has steadily expanded its electronic warfare EW capabilities through both foreign acquisitions and domestic innovation, positioning itself as a regional leader in this increasingly critical domain. Oops. The Islamic Republic has developed a range of EW systems capable of jamming radar, communication links, GPS signals, and satellite navigation used by enemy forces. Systems such as Fajr and Nazar are believed to provide ground-based jamming and signal interception, while mobile platforms mounted on trucks or aircraft extended Iran's ability to project electronic disruption over larger areas. Let the weak say I'm strong. This could go against America. It said it made America cheats jets go haywire. It says Iran has also claimed to possess radar spoofing and cyber electronic fusion technologies aimed at deceiving or disabling enemy surveillance platforms. Much of this development has been driven by Iran's defense industry, including organizations like the Iran Electronics Industries, IEI, and the IRGC's own research units, which have sought to overcome international sanctions by reverse engineering, capture Western systems, and integrating them into indigenous designs. These advances have allowed Iran to challenge technological superior adversaries through asymmetric means, making electronic warfare a central pillar of its defense and deterrence strategy. It says these advances have allowed Iran to challenge technologically superior adversaries through asymmetric means, making electronic warfare a central pillar of its defense and deterrence strategy. This escalation in electronic warfare coincides with the broader spike in regional hostilities. Since March 15th, U.S. forces have launched a sustained military campaign against Houthi militants in Yemen, employing precision airstrikes and missile attacks, including the deployment of B-2A Spirit stealth bombers to target high-value sites, linked to missile launches and drone activity. The Houthis, backed and armed by Iran, have intensified their own attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea, using anti-ship ballistic missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, to disrupt maritime traffic and challenge U.S.-led naval patrols. Another week saying they strong. Yemen is fighting against the U.S. Navy over there in the Red Sea. Ironically, the Red Sea, where we were delivered at the first time in Egypt, through the Red Sea. And now what? In that region again, round two. History repeats itself. And now we have more enemies because it's all heathen now. It's not just the Egyptians. It's the Egyptians, their allies, the Egyptians, the modern day Egyptians are these Americans, these Edomites. And now everybody's gearing up for war. This ain't gonna stop. Hold up. It says Iran's electronic attacks appear designed not only to shield its proxy forces, which these are the weak saying they're strong, because now they're going against a superior adversary. And remember, Iran got Russia with them. They got China with them too. So it's not just Iran. Remember, it's just all about this go crazy, man. Go crazy. And it says Iran's electronic attacks appear designed not only to shield its proxy forces from U.S. retaliation, but also to assert dominance in the electromagnetic domain across a region where control of the skies and seas is essential for both strategic mobility and economic stability. The jamming operations are centered around critical transit points, particularly the Strait of Hormuz, through which more than 20% of the world's oil supply flows daily. Disrupting GPS signals in this area raises significant safety risks for both military and civilian vessels, with the potential for navigation failures, collisions, or miscommunications in the congested waters. This the world going to shit. This is Esau's kingdom. The question would be, where do you go from here? It said the world's 20%. It says It says the Strait of, it says one of the targets, one of the areas where they putting this jamming is in the Strait of Hormuz. It says disrupting. It says which more than 20% of the world's oil supply flows daily, disrupting GPS signals in this area. Oh, I read that part. And it says the U.S. military is actively monitoring and assessing the evolving threat, with a focus on protecting its aircraft and restoring freedom of operation in the affected areas. Electronic warfare experts are reportedly deploying countermeasures such as directional antennas, signal encryption upgrades, and frequency hopping technologies to mitigate the impact of jamming and spoofing. So now they got a counterattack on Iran. Because that's the weak saying what? They are strong. You ain't gonna just come up here and do what you want undetected. They saying that we got something for you. Remember, they said we're prepared to go that route of war with the U.S. if y'all want to do that. says, it said, this is not the first time Iran has used electronic warfare to challenge American air superiority. In 2011, which when I remember first hearing about Apostle Sahar talk about Iran heavy, because I was in the truth for a couple years already, it says Tehran claims to have used signal manipulation to capture a U.S. RQ-170 Sentinel stealth drone. More recently, U.S. Navy vessels and drones have experienced intermittent GPS interference during freedom of navigation operations near Iranian-controlled maritime zones. These tactics form part of a broader Iranian strategy of asymmetric warfare seeking to exploit vulnerabilities in high-tech Western systems using relatively low-cost, domestically developed tools. They say that they're... I'm gonna read. Oh, I gotta read that scripture again. So this is the book of Job. Mind you, Iran said that we're using not too advanced stuff to fuck with y'all highly advanced shit. So this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 10, and it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. That's the nuclear weapons. But what does it say also? Said, let the weak say I'm strong. Let the weak say I'm strong, right? So it says, Iran using this, all this that they're using, it says, these tactics form a part of a broader Iranian strategy of asymmetric warfare, seeking to exploit vulnerabilities in high-tech Western systems using relatively low-cost, domestically developed tools. So your high-tech Western shit to their relatively low-cost, domestically developed tools. And it's giving you problems. It's giving America problems. It just said it jammed their shit. It said it made the U.S. jets go haywire. This is the last. I'm gonna finish the article. It says the latest round of jamming raises the stakes in an already volatile environment where military flashpoints in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen intertwine with geopolitical maneuvering by Iran, the United States, and their allies. As the electromagnetic spectrum becomes a new front line of confrontation, the risk of miscalculation or unintended escalation continues to grow, especially in airspace and waters shared by multiple international forces. Washington's next moves will likely aim to reinforce its aerial surveillance and navigation resilience while signaling to Tehran that aggressive interference will not go unanswered. But whatever. They said they ready, nigga. Iran said we're ready to go that route if need be, if y'all want to take it there. So y'all keep talking about, oh, yeah, unanswered, and that's not going to... Man, fuck you. They saying fuck you. You want to keep threatening us? You want to keep doing this? We're going to show you something. Let the weak say I'm strong. And mind you, this and fuck the Iranians, this is the will of YAHAWASHI. This is the Lord having them do that. This is the Lord putting that spirit on them. This is the time of war. The Lord said, the Lord said he works on the minds of the kings. Works on the mind. Hold up, speaking, listen. Hold on, I had something else I wanted to get. Oh yeah, one more article, one more issue. Okay, so this is from Washington Times, because remember, since Trump has been threatening Iran, you know, and a little bit after Russia stepped in. So this is from the Washington Times. It says, fuck. The fuck? Okay, here we go. So it says Russia warns of irreversible global catastrophe if US attacks Iran. Oops. Fucking ads. There you go. So it says Russia said Thursday, because this article is a few days old. So it says Russia said Thursday that any attacks on its ally, so it may specifically say that our ally said Thursday that any attacks on its ally Iran would be unacceptable and illegal, warning of irreversible consequences if the U.S. were to bomb the Islamic Republic's nuclear facilities. What did YAHAWASHI say? Wars and threats of wars. That's not like a threat. And remember, these nations are already at war, so that's a threat, right? It says the Russian Foreign Ministry condemned President Trump's threat to bomb Iran if a deal on the Islamic Republic's nuclear program is not reached, reiterating its support for Iran's program. So Iran, they got Russia behind them. They got China behind them. You probably could throw North Korea behind them. That's three countries. That's three countries alone. Three major entities to be backing you. Who's backing America and the small heads though? Because between the EU, NATO, it's a lot of tensions going on there. You got the small heads, Israel. They're at odds with Turkey, which is also a NATO country. You got this whole thing with the tariffs that's putting a sour taste in the EU and NATO's mouth to America. So you got Satan's house divided, because that's all Esau's, all Edomite countries. Russia are Edomites. So the fact that Russia and America are beefing, that's Satan's house divided right there, because that's the same nation. Let's not forget, Russia and America are Edomites. Putin is an Edomite. It said the use of military force by Iran's opponents in the context of the settlement is illegal and unacceptable. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said, threats from outside to bomb Iran's nuclear infrastructure facilities will inevitably lead to an irreversible global catastrophe. These threats are simply unacceptable. Mr. Trump made the threat Sunday. This is not today, but last Sunday. It says Mr. Trump made the threat Sunday during a phone interview, promising to use military force and sanctions if Iran refuses to negotiate. If they don't make a deal, there will be bombing. It will be bombing the likes of which they have never seen before, the president said. This is Trump talking about Iran. Last week, approximately a week ago, last Sunday. It said Mr. Trump's comments follow his letter to Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in which the president gave the Islamic Republic a 2-month deadline to reach a nuclear settlement or face severe consequences. So here we go, 2-month deadline, huh? It says reports suggest that the U.S. is bolstering its military presence in the region, because they know that, man, if it's a 2-month deadline, that means what, y'all gonna attack them in 2 months? It said Mr. Trump's comments follow his letter to Iranian, It said, which the president gave the Islamic Republic a 2-month deadline to reach a nuclear settlement or face severe consequences. Reports suggest that the U.S. is bolstering its military presence in the region. Open source intelligence reports from March said that new B-2 stealth bombers and C-17 transport aircraft are already stationed at the U.S. Air Force Base on Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. It says Western leaders assert that Iran is covertly enriching weapons-grade uranium on its way to developing a nuclear arsenal. Nuclear watchdogs have found that Iran's level of uranium enrichment is far higher than that would be necessary for purely civilian use. And they've been saying that for a while. Iran has long rejected claims that its nuclear facilities are used for defense purposes, insisting that its enrichment processes are used only for commercial and civilian reasons. But that's bullshit. It says Iran is already enduring heavy sanctions as a part of Mr. Trump's maximum pressure campaign against the country. The president issued the new round of sanctions in an executive order in February, targeting new sectors of Iran's economy not already hit by sanctions. Iran says it will not participate in direct talks with the U.S. with U.S. delegates while the heavy sanctions are in place, asserting that it will not be bullied to the negotiating table. That's right. Talk your shit. Hold up. You're trying to negotiate with them, but also sanctioning them. And Iran is saying, look, we're not going to do no business if you're going to keep sanctioning us and threatening us. So that means they're at an impasse. It says, while the heavy sanctions are in place, it says, asserting that it will not be bullied to the negotiating table. Last month, Iranian officials rejected offers for direct talks with U.S. negotiators while leaving the door open for indirect communications. Iran signed a comprehensive strategic partnership agreement with Russia in January. The deal stopped short of committing Russian forces to the defense of Iran in case of an outside attack, but includes provisions that neither country will offer any assistance to an attacker. It says Russia Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov told Life magazine recently that an attack on Iran risks plunging all of the Middle East into war. The consequences of this, especially if there are strikes on the nuclear infrastructure, could be catastrophic for the entire region, he added. So that's where we at. We're at a point of, if the U.S. attacks Iran and their nuclear facilities, that they're saying that the whole region is going to go into war, and they said it's going to be catastrophic. Let's go to the word catastrophic. What's catastrophic mean? Catastrophic. Pertaining to or of the nature of a catastrophe. And a catastrophe is, it says a catastrophe is a reversal of what is expected, especially a fatal turning point in a drama, the winding up of the plot. And what is the plot? This is the plot right here. Hold up. I'll tell you the plot right now, real quick. This is the plot of the catastrophe. This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 8, and it says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey, for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my justice. That's the plot. That's what the Lord has cooking up. So he's going to have this dramatics of the whole fucking Iran and like sanctions and threats, and all in the meanwhile, Iran is gonna be getting their shit more nuclear weapons grade. You don't know, and you already got Russia backing them, China with them, and Russia and China, they clearly beef with America. Over in the Middle East, the whole thing with the terrorists. Now you have America's own allies beefing with them. So now it's only gonna be the fucking small hats in America on the island by themselves eventually, and then America gonna get completely destroyed, and then you fucking devils that's in our land right now, YAHAWASHI definitely got smoke for you, and that's probably why not too many casualties are happening right now, because the Lord is saving you bastards for His day, and then all the way up to you elites. That's what people understand. These super rich, the people that you don't see, that's who YAHAWASHI going to fucking completely humiliate in front of the world when they go into slavery. And that's what and then the people going to be like, is this the man that made the nations to tremble? This the man? Are you now as weak as us? Are you now at the bottom where you belong, Esau? And that's what's happening right now. And that's why you can't help but just get this war shit going, because you have no other options. There's nothing left for you. America's not going to be what it once was. There's no more cargo slave ships. Remember, the Lord said the punishment of our iniquity is accomplished. Right now, this is the end of the world, and the end of the world of what? Heathen ruling over Israel. It said, for Esau, the end of the world, Jacob's the beginning of it that followeth. Lamentation, the 4th chapter. And now And what's going to lead up to these devils being destroyed? This third woe. Iran, America, Russia, China, North Korea, Iraq, South Korea, Japan, Philippines. You just had Japan, the Philippines, the U.S. They did naval drills the other day. And just like I read in Joel, the 3rd chapter earlier, prepare war. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. And that's what the nations are doing. And now you have Russia telling America, like, look, it'll be a catastrophe if you attack the Iranian nuclear facilities. Which leads me, Ezekiel 38. And I'm going to start this time. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1, and it says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against them. Now, when you go into that land, they said the land of Gog and Magog. Yeah, that was at one point, Jaffa was in that land. But it said the land, this is a future prophecy. Right now, that land of Gog and Magog, that's Russia. That's Russia. Present day, right? And it says, and prophesy against them, it says, and say, verse 3 of Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 3, and say, thus saith the Lord, YAHAWASHI, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine enemies, all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Now remember, Russia got one of the biggest militaries in the world. And I believe Russia, I think Russia and America are right now, presently, if I'm not mistaken, those two countries, America and Russia, are the two that have the most nuclear weapons. Most nuclear warheads or whatever. So it says all thine army, right? Verse 5. Ezekiel 38 and 5. It says, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So whose aid are they coming to? The Persians. You have Persians in Libya. You got Persians in Ethiopia. You got a lot of Elamites, Ishmaelites too, but you got Elamites in those lands, right? Because I believe wasn't Libya with I think Libya's the fucking Gaddafi nigga. I believe that was and who smoked him? So yeah, it says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Verse 6, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Targamar of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Verse 7, here's where it gets good. Now this is the part of the article. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company. So Gog, Magog, and all thy company. It said Persia was one of the company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. He's talking to Gog and Magog. That's Russia. That land, that's Russia. So he's telling them to be a guard unto them, which is why Russia is saying, don't attack Iran's nuclear facilities. It'll be catastrophic. It said our ally. Russia made it clear that that's our ally. It said we're supporting them. So, if you attack Iran, who's going to jump in it against you, America? Russia. Remember, Russia already got smoke for you for the Ukraine. And now you got a whole thing with the fucking NATO and the EU. They all discombobulated over the Ukrainian thing. Talk about there needs to be peace. Zelensky talk about Putin don't want peace, a ceasefire. I think Russia just bombed the shit out of the capital of Ukraine, Kiev. Bombed the shit out of it. Like a day or two ago. Maybe it might have been yesterday or Friday. So you have this is wars and rumors of wars, threats of wars. And this is future prophecy in Ezekiel 38th chapter. This is talking about right now. And it says, after many days thou shalt be visited, and in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. And that goes into a little something else, but the main point is in verse 7. It says, be thou a guard unto them. The Persians. Gog, Magog, that's Russia. Russia telling America, don't bomb Iran, that's our ally. It said the company. There you have it. There you go. That's Ezekiel 38th chapter coming into play. Revelation the 17th chapter, the beast shall hate the whore. You got America and the EU and NATO at odds right now. It's not peachy right now. The shit ain't sweet. And it's only gonna get worse and worse and worse. This is only gonna get worse until the nukes fly over here. Was there any more in that article? So that's what you got. To totality of the video, you have Iran jamming the GPS system, the jets in America. You have Russia warning America don't attack Iran. The whole thing. What was the first thing I brought out? The first thing I was talking about. It was what Iran. What the hell? The electrical warfare. Yeah, I forgot. Well, if you will go back, I forgot what I was talking about, Zach, but it's regarding Iran. And basically, it's about to be up. It's up now. We just got to continue to watch as well as pray. Prayer without ceasing. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught like a thief in the night. Like these unbelievers, man, stay in the faith. Oh, speaking of which, since Trump been talking about, bring a peace, even though that's not what his actions say. Might as well bring that out real quick. Hold up. I'm going to blue it on that one. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, and I'm going to start at the top. Now, when you go in the blue letter, the caption at the top reads, the day of the Lord. The day of the Lord. The day of the Lord. So this is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1, and it says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know, verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. But comes as a thief in the night to who? Those that are not watching. And the majority of the world is not watching. They don't understand the severity of this. They don't care to know. They think it's somehow just going to be worked out. But the way it's going to get worked out is the bombs fly. The way it's going to get worked out is that America, Israel, they bomb Iran. And Russia gets involved. Then China gets involved. North Korea that's how it's going to get worked out. The war is going to work it out. They talk about they want to stop the war, but all their steps and all their actions are saying the contrary. Are saying that they're getting ready for war. Because obviously Iran saying they're not trying to do no negotiations, and you're going to keep threatening them and sanctioning them. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3, and it says, for when they shall say peace and safety. Now, all these nations, they talking about, we don't want to go to war, and we want peace, and this, that, and third. But your actions are saying quite the contrary. I mean, you talk about warning this, threatening this, get the missiles ready for launch, jamming systems. All these things, these are all war moves and war actions. And warlike mentality, which goes to show we're in a time of war. And it says, for when they shall say peace and safety, and that's what Trump's spill was. When he got inaugurated, he was like, I'm going to be the president to bring peace on earth. I'm the president of peace. I'm going to bring peace on earth. Peace. But what? Then you sent bombs over to Yemen to bomb Yemen. You sending more military and more artillery over to the Middle East. You're threatening people. You're threatening countries. So it says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You're not going to escape the judgments of the day of the Lord. Because the day of the Lord says he's going to destroy Esau's kingdom. Hey, when you go to NLT, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3, it says, when people are saying everything is peaceful and secure, Then disaster will fall on them as suddenly as a pregnant woman's labor pains begin, and there will be no escape. Hey, Jacob Trouble. You got our own people in America talk about, man, that ain't never gonna happen. That ain't never gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen in our lifetime. You have people who've been saying that for years. But I don't hear that too much now. Because now they see the bombs going. Now they see the threats. Now they actually see what's going on. And some of them still not going to take heed. Because why? They're not going. They don't believe. They somehow think that shit is not going to get that crazy. But the Lord says sudden destruction. Sudden destruction. That means it's going to come quick. Like a thief in the night. When a thief comes, you don't know he's coming. And when he comes, he robs you of all your shit. That's why the scripture said what? It said if the man knew his house were to be robbed, he would have been if he knew the night would be robbed, he'd be prepared. Oh, okay. Actually, I'm going to read that in NLT, verse 4. So this 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 4. Now I'm going to read both. It says, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. So some people are not going to be overtaken because what? The ones that are watching for it. That's why the Lord said, watch as well as pray. The men of the Lord hasten in the day of the Lord. Which means what? Continue watching. Be on your watchtower. Be on your watch. Watch out for the prophecies. Look at these things that's happening day to day. Without wavering. That's why the Lord, always ask the Lord, increase your faith. Increase your faith, because in the times we come into now, faith in Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is going to need to be on fleek. It's going to need to be very, very high, the highest it could be. And that's what the time is. Right now, the time is to continue to build your faith. Because eventually, you're not going to have videos on YouTube to watch. You're not going to be able to see the brothers on the highways and byways. The Lord said he's going to take the prophets off the streets. He said there's going to be a time where there shall be a famine of the word, of hearing the word. He said they should run to and fro looking. Looking for what? Looking for the prophets. But then it's going to be too late. They've been overtaken by the day that it came as a thief in the night. So in the NLT of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 4, it says, but you aren't in dark about these things, dear brothers and sisters, and you won't be surprised when the day of the Lord comes like a thief. Because why? You're watching. You're on your watch. Remember, the men of the Lord, like any day, this shit can just get wild. Any day. But you have the regular people of this world, especially in America, they thinking they can't be, they dwelling carelessly still, man. They thinking that, it's just, that's going to stay over there. like Trump, Zelensky told Trump, you have a nice ocean to separate you from the trouble, but it will not protect you for much longer. It will not protect you forever. Don't tell us how we're going to feel. He said, you will not feel it now. He said, you don't feel it now, but you will feel it eventually. And Trump said, don't tell us how we're going to, don't tell us how we're going to feel. You don't tell us how we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good. You're gambling with World War III. Well, no, Trump, you're gambling with World War III too, nigga. All y'all gambling with World War III, but you know what? And you're all going to lose. Because Yahawah said, Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI said what? There will I sit and judge all the heathen round about. So y'all gonna get your little fair shake at each other, but then the Lord gonna get his piece of you, get all of y'all for himself. And that's what you didn't consider. That's the latter end you didn't consider. See, they think somehow that, these higher elites, these rich motherfuckers, they know that once the shit gets real crazy, they got bunkers to go to. They're gonna hide underground. It's the regular people that's gonna be screwed. But after the nuclear destruction comes, that's when you go into slavery, though. And you're going to wish you died. And then you're going to be, remember, you're going to cast into slavery, Yahawah, the elect going to have power, Israel going to have power, we're going to have our land back, we're going to have the laws, statute, commandments on our inward parts, we're going to have the Holy Spirit on us permanently, we're never going to go off again, we're going to be in complete righteous state of mind. And that's what we hope for. That's what we wait to be glorified with Yahawah when he comes back, man. That's why we know all these events that are taking place is leading to that great day. It said the day of the Lord. So, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM KAKADASH. Double honor to the positive Israel, aka the positive great millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.